Welcome to Literacy Action Center, where we transform the lives of English-speaking adults through literacy instruction. This means we are about raising literacy levels and moving these individuals forward on their journeys to achieve their ultimate goals. We do this by engaging these adults in a community of learning. Our purpose today, however, is to convince you to join us. Let's begin with why we are here, and then we'll talk about the elements of our program. The adults who come to us have spent their lifetimes struggling as readers, writers, and/or mathematicians. Learners' goals may be to get or keep jobs, help children with homework, or even find information on the internet. Quite frankly, they just want to do all the things that you and I take for granted. Personal goals may also include passing the written driver license test or earning citizenship status. Some of our adults want to earn their high school diplomas. Our goal is to help them get the skills they need to successfully enroll in a high school completion program. Some of these adults continue with us as they work through a school district to earn their diplomas. A few adults join us as they work towards their GED. They've struggled with one of the sections, usually math, and want extra assistance to solidify their math knowledge as they move forward. Others join us as they work towards passing specific tests, like tests for the military, police academy, trade school, or community college. We work on the learners' literacy issues related to these entrance tests, and in some cases, learners continue to work with us as they raise their skills and work through their programs, especially in trade school and college coursework. The energy and enthusiasm of these adults is boundless. They're all delighted when their dreams and goals are finally realized. That's why we're here. Now let's talk about what we do. The 5 elements that are integral to this community are group work, pair work, tools, experts, and sharing. Group work is an important element of our system. By the way, any text can be used to teach literacy. So we focus on content learners want to learn. While most materials are way too hard for our struggling readers, our group structure helps make these texts more accessible for all. And yes, sometimes learning is messy with lots of paper, books, and other technologies surrounding us. That's okay. Sometimes the content has to be more visual, so we have things like whiteboards available for everyone to use. Sometimes we just need to manipulate this information in some way. Here's a group using file cards to plan their next move. Sometimes we create written notes to aid our understandings. Organizing our ideas on paper in ways that make sense to us definitely improves our memory. While we aren't tied to chairs, the content is often tied to employment. Such as here, we're learning to read the first aid manual. Do you know that first aid certification is fundamental to many entry-level jobs? Group work lets us explore ideas. Group work lets us practice skills, share what we know, and even reflect on what we've learned. Sometimes we work as a whole group. Deeper learning takes place, however, when we break up into small groups to learn about one aspect of a topic, then come back together to share with the whole group. This is one of the many times when learners become teachers. And that's a big deal around here. Our ultimate goal is for all learners to be the teachers. Be it leading a lesson or working together to share with the whole group. Learners working with learners to explore issues and find solutions is what brings life to learning. We want learners to use the skills they learn, so we engage them in activities and opportunities that push for this to happen. For example, when we were reading about and exploring the 1/3 rule in photography, we sponsored a contest. These were some of our entries. When the city library started its new readers group, librarian Stephanie asked us to choose the first book. We'd speed dated several books. You can see on the board that some math was involved in reaching our conclusion. Visualizing, interpreting, and writing directions, in other words, comprehending text, is often difficult for our learners. You should have seen the directions groups wrote for connecting a light to a power source. Not pretty. What about boiling an egg? Seems like a simple task. Learners wrote instructions for how they boil eggs, then they followed them. Here are images of how 2 of the recipes turned out. Which one would you eat? On the other hand, these snowmen turned out quite well. Another way we solidify knowledge is to formally rehearse, then present with supporting images to a group. Presentations may be the result of a group project or an individual's exploration of a personal topic. Pairs and partners is the second element of our instructional delivery system. This element focuses on the pieces individual learners need to gain skills and concepts. As you may glean from these images, learners and tutors are focused on basic aspects of reading, writing, and math. As with group work, we have some specific techniques for maximizing learning potential in these pairings. Partners use instructional texts that fit with the learner's needs and goals. The third element is about individual practice. Only with practice will learners gain the skills they need to move on. Certain tools will aid in this process. Our beginning mathematicians often need something to count. While you may not choose teddy bears, we keep a variety of objects acceptable by everyone. By the way, even lines and fingers work. With Zoom, we are using the star, heart, and check mark stamps. Other tools focus energy and increase memory retention. Inexperienced writers may need the alphabet in front of them until it becomes internalized. All learners are engaged in putting their words on paper, even if it's through dictation, then supported early on to type their stories, even if they know nothing about the keyboard. Other technology usage depends on the learners. Phones, for example, are quite helpful with spelling. Can't say enough about just getting learners to read, a minimum 20 minutes daily. Our library is stocked with books for all levels. While our combined knowledge at Literacy Action Center is pretty strong, there's no substitute for bringing in or going out to meet real people and real careers to talk about aspects of what we're learning. Here are a few recent examples. Many of our tutors take vacations, and we are grateful that we learned something about the world through their adventures. One tutor even made us a movie about the sea life he saw on a recent underwater dive. Experts from the field also come in to enhance what we are learning, such as this food economist talked to us about portion sizes, meal planning, and food shopping issues. This financial expert took us through a course on budgeting and managing our expenses. This nurse helped us with health topics and understanding our bodies. This chemist brought molecules and reactions alive as we worked through a unit on food chemistry. This officer helped us through a series of Supreme Court cases, including the origins of Miranda rights. This genetics professor, who works in Brazil's Amazon region, explained what's happening to the river's wildlife. On the lighter side, local artisans have shared their work with us, discussing the technical sides of it. We've also examined history through reenactments and collections of treasures such as these woodwinds from the Middle Ages. While many experts have come to us, we've also gone out to meet them. For example, because many of our learners have learning disabilities, we often attend learning disability conferences as a group. We visit training programs for 2 reasons. First, to see what we haven't thought about, and second, to reinforce what we want. These trips remind us of what we still need to do before we are ready to enroll. Other trips may include places that enhance instruction or highlight potential careers. This trip was a thank you for the help we've given IHC over the past years. We involve learners with their legislators each spring during the legislative session. Through bill tracking, email, and face-to-face meetings, learners increase their understandings of how our government works. Learning is not done in a vacuum. Many of us need motivation, reasons to use these skills, more than just as an in-class activity. Otherwise, we go home at the end of the day and slip back into the person we were before we left that morning. Thus, sharing our skills and knowledge with others is an extremely important element of our program. Here are some recent activities. Learners have used their reading and writing skills to help IHC make patient forms more understandable. Most recently, they reviewed a document for Utah State Board of Education. They've been presenters as well as room monitors at statewide conferences. They've gone out to explain the center to groups at trade shows, as well as at community meetings, and of course at fundraisers. As members of the Salt Lake Community College Community Writing Center, some of our learners read at public readings and get their stories published annually in Sina-Cara. While celebrating isn't listed as one of the key elements, it should be. Celebrating each step along the way is crucial. These celebrations are as small as calling a friend with the good news or dancing in the hallway with joy. Instructional units often have group celebrations attached. For example, this picnic was the result of having 80% of the group reaching 100% of their weekly goals for 6 successive weeks. Not an easy accomplishment. We had to restart the count several times. One cool part of these food-related celebrations is that they are based on each person bringing only one ingredient. These ingredients are then put together at the center. As such, few of us will forget the day we squeezed a lime to figure out how many limes we needed to make enough virgin margaritas for everyone. Our ultimate celebration is held annually the last Friday evening of April. The evening combines congratulations with thank yous. So, why wouldn't you come here? Helping these learners reduce their literacy issues as they transform their lives is an awesome experience for all of us. You will join us, won't you? Join us at Literacy Action Center.